So we're going to be in Zechariah 14. We're going to start at verse number 14.
Okay. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. And so shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in the tents as this plague.
Yes, sir, you can go all the way through.
Keep going down? Okay. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the feast of tabernacles. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague, wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the feast of the tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all the nations that come not up to the feast of tabernacles. In that day shall there be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto the Lord, and the pots in the Lord's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, not every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness unto the Lord of hosts, and all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them, and seeth therein, and in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of the Lord of hosts.
All right, so the first thing we got to see, it started off with war in Judah. Now, if we remember from Leviticus 23, it was trumpets, atonement, then you had your tabernacles. So now we have a war being spoken on. So which feast days do we think that would be?
That's trumpets.
Bingo. So you got your trumpets right there, and then you got the affliction of the animals and etc. Everyone is being afflicted because of this war. And then after the affliction occurs, and the nations, when the war is over with, and the Lord of hosts actually comes, and his judgment is complete, then you have the nations actually going up, and it's required for the nations to worship, to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. So it's actually going all in order. You got your judgment, affliction, gathering. But notice here, in Leviticus 23, it's dealing with Israel, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here in Zechariah, it's dealing with everyone.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it has left the aspect of the old covenant, and it has entered into the aspect of the new covenant. But time and time again, we see that the new covenant does not take place until the war. When the war comes, then it makes way for the new covenant. So you can't have the new covenant without the war. You can have the sacrifice for the new covenant, which was Christ, before the new covenant is actually enacted, but it doesn't take place in effect until the war. So you got the nations coming in, and they're celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles every year. And people feel like that this part has not happened yet because the nations have not came up to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles with anybody. So can someone give me from their perspective what's actually happening in Zechariah right here? What is this allegorical information mean? What do you think the breakdown of it is? And I give it to the panel to answer, or anybody else that want to answer.